Jai Gurudev, everyone. Today we are starting another series of Wisdom's Spark with Ashtanga Yoga as our beginning series. So we have with us Srimati Shyamala Karmachandranji, and she is Art of Living faculty from Kerala. And she has been a banker in her career earlier, and then she moved to academics, and she joined Art of Living in the year 1996, and since then she's here with us. So welcome, Shyamala ji, to our channel.
Thank you, Abhimita, for the good words.
Let's begin.
And Jai Gurudev, once again a warm welcome to all. And I'd like to say, Abhimita is a very dynamic and vibrant personality, a committed sevak, dedicated sadhak, and she is working with the Infosys, Meru Chikitsa practitioner too. And then I'm happy to have you here with me, Abhimita. Jai Gurudev. And now Guru Vandana. Om Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmad Shri Guru Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Guru. Yes. Pranamam to Pujya Gurudev, Pranamam to Maharshi Patanjali. Here we are thinking about Ashtanga Yoga, the 8 limbs of yoga. The Patanjali Yoga Sutra, as we all know, is a illustrative, comprehensive guide to holistic well-being of a human being. I think it's a must for everyone. Everyone should have at least once in their life should have gone through that. And there are 196 verses. The 196 verses are segregated into 4 chapters. That is Samadhi Pada, Sadhana Pada, Vibhuti Pada, and Kaivalya Pada. And Ashtanga Yoga is elucidated in the 2nd chapter, Sadhana Pada, the path of action. Now, we can say the path of action to self-realization. And before we start thinking about Ashtanga Yoga, let's look into the opening verse of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Atha Yogani Shasanam. Shasanam Anushasanam. Now, what is the essence of this verse? It is discipline, right? Is it not? Then why is Maharshi talking about discipline at the very first outset? And Maharshi Patanjali is a scientist, philosopher, physician, psychologist, and psychiatrist. We will know about him as we move along. So why does Maharshi talk about discipline? Why? Because simple discipline starts from home. From home. And Gurudev says, without discipline, you will not be able to attain sattvic happiness. Discipline is what we know brings back the wandering, oscillating mind, ourselves, to the source, and it unites all the loose ends of our existence. And Ashtanga Yoga. Why? What? Let's think about it. How? Now, what is Ashtanga Yoga? Ashtanga Yoga means Ashta, 8 yoga, yoganga are the limbs. Now, what are the 8 limbs of yoga? We all know that. We are all, people in the path are all familiar with that. Yama, Niyama, yes. Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. And we can say that these 8 limbs form the heart of the Yoga Sutra or yoga as such. Now, why? These 8 limbs of yoga, as Patanjali Yoga, Maharshi says, are not separate from each other. They are a part of the whole. Just like when we grow up, our limbs grow together. We grow together as a whole, no? Likewise, the Ashtanga Yoga integrates all aspects of our personality. And Gurudev says this is like a seed in our consciousness. For the seed to sprout and grow, what should we do? We should nurture it. We should water it. Should not give it the proper nutrition. Give it the tender loving care it needs. Likewise, for the seed of wisdom to grow, consistent practice of Ashtanga Yoga is necessary. That's what Gurudev says. Now, suddenly something comes up in my mind, Abhimita. With the oft repeated words, consistent practice, what does it imply? Let's look at that word. It's very oft repeated words. Gurudev always says that, no? Sadhu Dirghakala Nairantarya Satkara Sevito Drithabhumihi. For any practice to get rooted in us, there should be that consistent practice for a period of time, and that practice should be with honor and respect. And I think Gurudev devotes an entire chapter, small chapter to honoring the practice, because that is very important, because the knowledge is so precious. And as we said, this is quite universal. This does not depend on time, place, people, situations, circumstances. So universal it is. That is why I said everyone should at least have gone through this once. And there is also one reason which I personally feel that we should be familiar with the yoga angas. It is again the verse in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. It is Heya Dukkham Anagatam. We have heard of that, no? Gurudev often says it is preventing the misery before even it arises, nipping the root cause of misery. Why? Because prevention is always better than cure. Is it not? Yeah. So this is all inclusive. And Maharshi himself says, no, there is Yoganga Anushtanad Ashuddhi Kshaye. When you practice these yogangas, Ashuddhi Kshaya, the impurities gets washed away, impurities gets removed. Aviveka Kshaye, the non-discrimination, Aviveka, disappears. And Jnana Dipti, the light of discriminative awareness shines forth in all its magnificence. It's how beautiful, no? Very beautiful. Is it not? Yeah. And now, again, Yama Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So of this, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama and pratyahara, the 5 limbs are known as bahya ranga sadhana, or related to the external aspects. And dhyana, dharana, dhyana, samadhi is known as antaranga sadhana, or internally related. And dhyana, dharana, dhyana, samadhi is what? Just think. It's very familiar. What is that? It is samyama, sanyam, is it not? Yeah. How Gurudev has like given us all this knowledge in capsule, no? And let's look at yamas first. There are 5 yamas and 5 niyamas. The yamas are actually the directions for the world outside, and first yama is ahimsa. We all know ahimsa is non-violence. Non-violence in our thoughts, our words, our deeds, our actions, our attitude. And when we say ahimsa, it implies ahimsa to ourselves also, is it not? The self-blame, self-pity, destructive thoughts. These are all himsa, guilt. These are all himsa. And Gurudev says, for the one who is established in ahimsa, in the presence of one who is established in ahimsa, the violent tendencies disappear. A person with violent tendencies, when he approaches a person who is established in ahimsa, he becomes calm, quiet, and centered. We have lots of stories in Puranas, no? Where in the ashrams of Maharishis, all species, all kinds of animals stay together peacefully. And it is said that Mahavira, when he was meditating in the middle of the forest, wild animals used to roam around him. They used to come and sit near him. And the very best example is our Gurudev himself, no? He ended the 40-year-old Colombian War in just 3 days. Just 3 days. And Gurudev himself cites an example. It's his experience here. And once way back, when he was there in US, giving a discourse, a person came to him in a very, very aggressive manner, shouting and telling him that he is going to kill Gurudev, strangle Gurudev. That big burly person came and stood near Gurudev with in all anger and aggressiveness. Gurudev just looked at him and said, wait. And that person sank to his knees crying and offered pranams to Gurudev. That is the power of ahimsa. So beautiful. And next comes Satya. We know Satya is truth. And just before that, I'd like to tell you, if you observe each and every limb of the Ashtanga Yoga, Yogangas, Maharshi brings out incredible bhalasiddhi or incredible outcomes. It is so beautiful. And for the one who is established in ahimsa, the outcome is Vairatyaga, as we discussed, as we told. Like the violent tendencies disappear. Vairatyaga. And coming to Satya, the truth. It is 100% commitment to the truth. It is being with the truth in every aspect, in our thoughts, in our words, in our actions, in our deeds, in our attitude, yes, as before. But what I personally feel like that it requires courage and grace to be with the truth. So not, and Gurudev says that the commitment to the truth in an individual is reflected in the clarity of his intention and purity in his actions. The sincerity towards ourselves, towards the environment, towards the others around you. And as we move along, we will have that realization that we are the truth. And for the one who's established in Satya, the truth, the phalasiddhi or the outcome is Kriya Bhalashrayatvam, which means the fruits of actions get materialized without any effort. It will be so easy. Success follows such kind of person who is with the truth. Instead of we chasing success, success automatically comes to us. Of course, there may be failures, but he will learn and move on because truth always triumphs. It is Satyameva Jayate, is it not? Always the truth triumphs. And Gurudev tells us one story about Akbar and Birbal. Once, Emperor Akbar passed a law stating that those who tell lies will be hanged. Everyone got upset. The merchants got together, the lawyers got together. What could they do? They approached Birbal, the wise man in king's court. Birbal went to Emperor. When the guards stopped him, Birbal shouted out that I am going to be hanged. No, Birbal was telling a lie. Is it not? Nobody has passed any direction saying that Birbal should be hanged. He was telling a lie. And at the same time, if as per the emperor's law, if Birbal is getting hanged, the emperor will be punishing a very innocent person, right? So what to do? They came to a compromise. Very slowly, unknowingly, he removed the law. And next is Asteya. So, Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya. Asteya is non-stealing. Suppose I see a very beautiful pearl necklace in your neck, Abhimita. Oh, and I like it so much that I want something like that. And I keep on thinking, oh, I want that. It's so beautiful. It never gets erased from my memory. Even that is Asteya. Keep thinking about wanting. And to a sadhak, to someone in the path. Now, what does Asteya signify? Let's think over it. It is dropping feverishness, right? Am I not right? Stopping the feverishness. And Maharshi says, when Asteya gets established in you, you will have Ratnopasthanam. The treasures of the universe will present themselves before such kind of a person. He will have access to the precious, unlimited wealth in the universe. And again, to a sadhak, what does it mean? To a seeker, what does it mean? It is getting access or knowing the unlimited treasure of knowledge within us. The knowledge which we have, which has been given to us. Normally, everyone will not have that kind of approach or rather access. It will be so fortunate. To a sadhak, Asteya can also mean that. It is Jnana Bhandara, access to the Vijnana Bhandara. And next comes Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is Brahma's infinity. And Brahmacharya is moving in infinity. Normally we associate celibacy with Brahmacharya. But Gurudev says, for the one who moves in infinity, to the one who realizes the infinite nature of his consciousness, who walks with infinity, who is eternally aware of that infinite nature of the consciousness, celibacy, the abstinence is just a natural happening. It is something very, very sort of enlightening. Celibacy is just a natural happening to someone who walks with infinity, to someone who realizes that the conscious nature of his consciousness is infinity. And the velocity of Brahmacharya is tremendous strength. Nothing will deter you. Nothing. You walk like a lion. The tremendous willpower, you'll have tremendous willpower. And the next aspect of Yama is aparigraha. Aparigraha is non-accumulation, non-hoarding. And hoarding something with a selfish motive is parigraha. And then this is story time now. Gurudev tells us a very interesting story. I think he has told somewhere else actually. But I remember that story right now. There was a very wealthy merchant, you know. He toiled hard to amass all the wealth, as much wealth as he could. And he became so attached to those wealth that when the time for him came to leave his body, he was so worried. And he very secretly called his family astrologer and told him, see, I have this much wealth. See, I don't want to give it to my wife because she'll simply squander it away. She doesn't know the value of it. And I don't want to give it to my sons because they are not mature enough to manage the wealth. I want this for myself. Will you just look at the grahas, the position of the grahas, and tell me what to do about this wealth? I should have it to myself. And you know what the astrologer did? Astrologer looked at his horoscope, meditated, then looked at all the positions of the grahas, consulted the scriptures, and then came out with a solution. And he told that wealthy person, sir, after your death, you will be born in such and such a place to such and such parents, and your address will be this, and your name will be such and such. Oh, what a relief. Immediately, the man called the lawyers and wrote the will in that name, so that even in the next birth, he could enjoy all the wealth. So, we also have that kind of parigraha, no? What do we do? Apart from storing, keeping the wealth, the material things, we hoard lots of other things, right? Hatred, anger, vengeance. So aparigraha is dropping everything, as I feel, and being free. And the velocity of aparigraha is, Gurudev says, when you drop, you become free, and when you become hollow and empty, you get the knowledge about your past birth, the reasons and causes about your previous lifetimes, and the knowledge about different species in the universe. Different species in the universe. So, what are all the yamas about which we thought? Anything to contribute? Anything you feel that you could add? Okay. Then we will move on to Niyama. What are the Niyamas? They are Shaucha, Santosha, Tapa, Swadhyaya, and Ishvara Pranidhana. Shaucha, as we know, is cleanliness, inner cleanliness and outer cleanliness. It relates to the cleanliness in the environment also. Cleanliness in the physical environment. Bodily cleanliness, cleanliness in the environment. Now, this is quite natural, no? When we feel, when our surroundings are very clean, and when we feel that we are pure, our mind gets uplifted. Is it not? It's a very natural happening.
Yeah, that's very true.
Is it not?
Yeah, and even if the place is clean, the meditation also happens very nice.
Meditation also happens very smoothly. Yes.
Yeah.
And the outer cleanliness purifies us. The inner cleanliness, we call that sattva shuddhi. It is clarity and purity of the mind and intellect. And the result and effect is mana prasada. It is the pleasantness in the mind. Saumyata, equanimity, calmness. Chitta ekagrata. It is a focus and attention. So what happens when when we have that kind of focus, when our mind does not get distracted? The awareness in us increases, right? Mind becomes so sensitive that the awareness increases. And Indriya Jaya means like we will have a say over our senses. The senses which take us to different places. We can rein in. And Maharshi says,
when we do the yoga, Shri level 2 yoga, right? We have a detox process over there. Yes. So soon after that, for a couple of days after the detox, I did experience heightened awareness, and because all the inner impurity, that physical impurity got cleaned.
Yes, and this is all practical. Gurudev and Maharshi doesn't say anything which cannot be implemented. It is all practical. The knowledge which is applicable. Is it not? Don't we feel so? Yeah. And that is why I said everyone should at least go through once. And what I personally feel that they said, this should be introduced as a curriculum in schools and colleges, is it not? Because this will, as we go along, we'll see that this will give a sense of direction. The sense, how to lead a meaningful life and have an in-depth or insight into the haves and have-nots, do's and don'ts, to the youth. It is such precious knowledge, what I feel. And the Shaucha gives Atma Darshana Yogyatva, as she says. You become ready to commence the journey inward. And one develops attitude of disinterest towards our body. That over attachment towards the body, towards our own body and towards others get lessened. And now we never thought that like Shaucha or cleanliness has these kind of dimensions, right? I never thought. And next is Santosha. Santosha, as we know, is happiness. And happiness is a habit to be cultivated. We know about that in our basic program, no? Happiness program. The happiness is to be cultivated. It is an attitude. Because the mind has always a tendency to run towards the negatives, cling towards the negatives. Its main tendency is to cling towards the negative. We have to reinforce that santosha is a habit to be cultivated. And what is Maharshi saying? Santosha, that when you are always happy, because happiness is your very nature. Joy, peace, happiness. We do that in the Panchakosha meditation, right? Gurudev tells us, you are peace, you are joy, you are happiness, you are contentment. It is our very nature. It is just realizing our own nature. The habit of being happy, the attitude of happiness. And the phala which Maharshi says is anuttama sukhalabha, incomparable joy. That smile will not wean away from your face, come what may. You will be able to go through, undergo, or move through anything, any challenge with this beautiful smile right from the heart. And again, this is a story about Mullah Nasruddin. We all love that stories about Mullah Nasruddin, right? And Gurudev talks, like Gurudev says, there was drought and famine in Mullah's village. So all his crops got destroyed. And Mullah was so sad. He was complaining, worrying what to do. Like everything has got destroyed. I don't know. He's going and telling his woes to each and everyone he meets. Any Tom, Dick and Harry. Always he's talking about this. And everybody felt pity for him. And people started comforting him. Like, Mullah, don't worry. Next time you'll get double. Don't worry about this. I mean, at least for carrying on with your day-to-day life, you have the balance of what we have done the previous time, no? All the pulses, wheat, everything is there in your home. So don't worry unnecessarily. And the next season came and there was heavy rain. The crops flourished. And it was so beautiful to see the wheat fields. And people started asking Mullah again, now Mullah, look, it is so beautiful, so wonderful. The nature has been so kind to us. Aren't you happy? You will get more than double. And now, what is Mullah telling them? Oh, it is such a botheration, you know. I have to toil in the fields to get this harvested. And I have to waste a lot of money, giving money to laborers because this is so much. And I have to carry all this load to the market. Now what is this? So, being contented and happy is our nature. And Gurudev always says, to a person who is contented, everything flows in. And the next is tapa. Tapa is penance. It is like moving beyond your comfort zone. It is actually sacrificing something. And these three aspects of niyama, you know, like what we talked about, tapa, swadhyaya, and ishvara pranidhana is classified as Kriya Yoga. And Gurudev talks in very detail about the Kriya Yoga, of the three aspects, you know. And the purpose of these three, Tapa, Swadhyaya and Ishvara Pranidhana, is to eliminate miseries. And Gurudev says there are three types of Tapa as usual. Sattva, Rajas, Tamo. Sattvic Tapa is for the, as we know, is for the betterment of the universe, betterment of the world. It is doing away with miseries of the world. It is for some other purpose. And Rajasic tapas is to attain something for ourselves, for a personal motive. And Tamasic tapas, Gurudev says, is torturing the body. The torture of body and senses. And where the intention is not very pure. We see that in Puranas, right? Demons doing the tapa, then pleasing gods to obtain boons, and then going along and destroying the world. That is Tamasic tapa. And the bhala of tapa is, it brings perfection to the senses. We will get that awareness about the movement of the senses, the total perfection to the senses, and eliminates impurities from the body. The senses and body becomes very strong. Kayendriya Siddhi. That is what Maharshi says. And Gurudev again talks about tapa. There is tapa at the bodily level, where you fast. And at the level of the mind. And there is very important Vangmaya tapas, tapa at the level of the speech. The words which do not ruffle others, which do not disturb others, which do not hurt others. And Gurudev very specifically says, Vangmaya tapas is very important because, and as we progress in the path, the words of a sadhak, the words of the seeker becomes, Gurudev says it 4 times, more and more powerful. Even what that sadhak thinks gets materialized. That is why it is said, never even think ill of some person. Never talk ill of some person, because the effect rebounds back to us much more than it affects the other person. And it becomes so powerful that you will have the Nigraha Anugraha Shakti. We have often heard, no, Maharishis blessing people, and it happens. Then Durvasa were cursing Shakuntala, and suddenly it happens. And they are going and asking for Shapa Moksha. Again, it materializes. So they have the Nigraha Anugraha Shakti. And we have Manomaya Tapa. Manomaya Tapa, Gurudev says it is Saumyatva. That is calm and composed mind. Mauna, the silence. What we always go through, is it not? The advanced courses. Mauna and Atma Vinigraha. Getting back to your mind. Getting back to the source. And the result is Atma Darshana. You will have a glimpse of the source. Tapa is so powerful. And the Tapa purifies and strengthens, as we can see. And the next aspect of Niyama is Swadhyaya, or self-study. And Gurudev always says, Tapas without swadhyaya or self-study, the self-introspection leads to inflated ego. And self-study, the swadhyaya is consciously diving deep into ourselves. Gurudev says, looking into the motives behind our actions. And swadhyaya also eliminates suffering and misery. And Gurudev's Buddha, Bhagavan Buddha, has talked about this. It is Kaya Anupasana, observe your body. Vedana Anupasana, observe the sensations in the body. Chitta Anupasana, observe the mind, its modulations, its wanderings, the thoughts. And Dhammanupasana, go deep, deep and deep into yourself. Observe yourselves, observe the very nature, observe what happens there. That is what we do in Panchakosha, right? See how very simply Gurudev have given us this knowledge. And the effect of Maharshi says, Swadhyaya is Ishtadevata Samprayoga. That is, you feel the presence of your Ishtadevata. You feel the presence of the Master. You feel the presence of the divinity. You feel that you have that divinity within you. You are walking with the divinity. It is divinity everywhere. You perceive divinity in everything, everywhere. And the last aspect of Niyama is Ishvara Pranidhana. Is total, absolute, unconditional surrender. And I think for surrendering, what is needed? Devotion should be there, no? Then only we'll be able to surrender. And faith should always be there. The unconditional faith, is it not? Then only that surrender becomes complete. And here Gurudev also says, when we think about surrender, there is the dvandva there. Dvaita, that is two. When you surrender, you are surrendering to someone, or is it not? So you feel that you and the divinity are separate. But in reality, you are the divinity. And as we progress, when that awareness dawns upon us that we are the divinity, everything, that bliss happens. We will be in that continuous bliss. Then that is Ishvara Pranidhana. And Maharshi says, Ishvara Pranidhana leads us to Samadhi. Samadhyavastha, to pure awareness. Yes. And here, Yama Niyama, the aspects of Yama Niyama is over.
In practical life, people who follow the path of Satya, right? Truthful people, they go through tough times. So how do they apply Satya in their day-to-day life? And what transformation it brings to the person who is practicing it?
Yes, as we said, I'll answer the second question first. The transformation is, he will have tremendous power, willpower, the Shakti, Virya. Gurudev himself says. And yes, of course, people, because the world is like that, world is both negatives and positives. And people who who stick on to the Satya, they will definitely, that is what we are experiencing right now, no? People who stick on to Satya, who stick on to the principles, who stick on to the values. But in the end, Gurudev says, success will always prevail. And success will follow such kind of person. And the courage is one aspect of Satya. He will have the courage. The nature will give him the courage to move through all kinds of difficult situations. And he will become strong enough, very, very strong. He will be walking like a lion in the midst of all these chaos, confusion, hardships. That's what I feel. What is your opinion?
I think it also requires a lot of patience plus
Patience.
courage.
Yes.
So,
yes.
because I read Gurudev's quote this morning only when he said, before the truth, when truth always wins, but the lie will have its dance. So the lie will, come around, but in the
Yes.
end, it's always truth that wins. But just to reach till there, one needs to hold on to their patience, a lot of
Yes.
patience.
Yes, very much. Very much. That's a beautiful answer. Very beautiful answer.
Then how you spoke about brahmacharya. So
Yeah.
how do married people explain what is, I mean, what will be, how do we implement celibacy for married people?
That depends on them actually. As Gurudev says, we should realize the true meaning or true essence of brahmacharya. It is moving in infinity. It is moving with the ultimate, the vast consciousness, realizing the nature of your vast consciousness. And then when you are in that elevated state of mind, Gurudev says celibacy happens automatically. And that is a choice. It is a choice of the individuals. Celibacy. But personally, I feel that very, very hardly, like sort of hard, it's like a hard and fast rule that you should have this kind of celibacy, otherwise something that's, I don't think that's correct. For married people, the life itself is, that kind of life itself is a swadharma, right? Swadharma is very important.
I think also Gurudev says
For grihasthas, it is a part of the purushartha.
For married people, Gurudev also says the relationship should move parallelly.
Yes.
If it goes like this, that's when
everything, yeah,
falls apart.
falls
So
apart.
if it goes like this, I think then maintaining brahmacharya will be much better. Easy.
Easily, because you will be both the people, both the partners will realize they'll be so blissful, so happy, and then say that abstinence, if they want us to be within quotes, she will happen automatically. It's not kind of course, we should, there should be that observance in the initial stages, but later on it's something which happens. It is their personal choice. That's what I feel, personally feel.
So you mentioned that we have to honor the practice, right?
Yes. Satkara atevito.
Yeah. So many people, including myself, at one point of time when I received this knowledge, I didn't understand what it was all about. And it took me a very long time just to understand and have that kind of respect and honor that I have today. So what would you say for, like, how do we start honoring the practice? Like only then
It comes with
work.
experience. It comes with experience. See, it's like when we speak knowledge, or when we speak something to someone, for that knowledge to sink in, to help in his manana, he should have that understanding, right? That understanding comes with experience. And as they move along, they will definitely understand with the experience how to honor the practice. That honoring the practice automatically happens with experience and knowledge. Then Gurudev says, whatever you do, just respect and honor the practice. And as we go along, when we practice doing the same thing for quite a long time, it becomes mechanical. That is the nature, human nature. And then Gurudev says, wake up, realize, and do it, and do things afresh. I think that is why Gurudev says, you repeat the, AMP is like charging a battery. Like you recharge the battery, then get back home. All the courses, for that matter. Refurbish your knowledge, replenish, revisit. I think that helps it. Is it, and so don't you think so?
Yes, it does. But for me, actually, what worked was I did have respect because I never stopped doing my Kriya and meditation. It's been 10 years and I did not stop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because somewhere I knew something very powerful is happening. I did have the respect, but the honor has come, like you said. It has come now, like in the last few years, because of the experience
that you feel. No, that's just a feeling. That's just what the mind feels. When at the first instant itself, when you realize that the knowledge which you're receiving is very powerful, or it is very pure, it has effect. That honoring comes automatically. Now, this peripheral feeling that you are not honoring or respecting us, it's just a feeling of the mind.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when I was learning Niru, so that moment, the moment I received, because I was prepared, my mind was prepared at that point of time when I received that knowledge. So the moment I received it, instant honor came automatically. I didn't have to, cultivate honoring at that point. So when this is a very beautiful thing that you said is when one is committed to the truth, the nature helps you when with the clarity of intention that you are having. So that's what Gurudev always says, right? Clarity of intention, purity of the mind, and your actions.
Yes.
So that
will get automatically
also
reflected in your actions.
Your commitment to the truth. Yeah. Okay.
And now to the next limb of yoga. Next yoganga. And before going on to the next yoganga, Gurudev, we have to say that this yama niyama, what we have discussed. Don't you feel that this is applicable to all? At least the youngsters should get this knowledge.
Yes.
And it's so relevant in the present times. And Gurudev says these yama niyamas are the greatest vows. The greatest vows. And it is to be realized as such and practiced as such. And here also comes that honoring path, right? We are humans. Often, the opposites of all these comes in us, no? All this, it's quite natural. Himsa, parigraha, aparigraha, steya, asteya, everything comes within us. So how to counter this? Yeah, it's complementary. Opposite values are complementary. So how to counter this? Maharshi says, Pratipaksha bhavanam. Direct the mind towards the opposite, which is direct the mind towards the positive aspects. So for directing the mind, what should be there? That awareness should be there, no? The awareness that you are valuing in sorrow, the awareness that you are really angry, the awareness that I mean, you are not really sincere in what you're doing right now. So how to develop the awareness? How to develop that a kind of awareness? It is just this, our sadhana, pranayama, kriya, meditation. It's just a straight solution. Very straight solution.
And after the sadhana, grace also works when we ask.
Grace also. Sadhana, seva, all contributes. Seva especially contributes this kind of awareness. We'll be really aware. Our mind will be very sharp. Sadhana. And the next asana, next yoganga is asana. Sthiram Sukham Asana, we always hear about it. It implies the steadfastness and steadiness in your posture. When you are steadfast and steady and comfortable in your posture, when you sit for meditation, when you sit to hear a divine knowledge, the dvandvas won't disturb you, which means you will not be disturbed with the heat and the cold outside. You will not be disturbed with the sukha or dukkha, which were bothering you. Nothing bothers you. And you will be in perfect alignment with the nature around you, unperturbed by these opposites. That is the effect of asana. Being steadfast and steady in the posture. So asana, and the next comes pranayama. We all know what pranayama is. We are in the path. It is, as we say, directing the subtle life force energy properly. Gurudev says, the process of pranayama is, as we know, inhaling, holding the breath, exhaling, again holding, and directing the breath towards different parts of the body. There are different types of pranayama. And Gurudev talks about when the effort of this inhalation and exhalation ceases, the breath takes on its own pattern. That is at some high level, but this is what helps you in your pursuit of self-knowledge. When that effect of exhalation and inhalation ceases, the breath takes on its own pattern. And just 2 days back, I have, in the Instagram, there was Gurudev's video talking about breath. And Gurudev says that when someone comes near you for a seeker in the path, he will definitely understand just by the way the person breathes about his nature, whether he is violent or docile or enthusiastic in nature, whether he is a meditator or a seeker in the path. It's the breath reveals a lot of secrets to a sadhak. It is wonderful, no? Like when we observe the breath, Gurudev says. And the effect of pranayama is tat kshiyate prakashavaranam. The veil of ignorance around your consciousness gets thinned, and the knowledge shines forth by consistent practice of pranayama. And you will have dharana, the focus of the mind. pranayama, and then comes pratyahara. So in the niyama, we have, so after yama, niyama, we have asana, pranayama, pratyahara. Pratyahara is actually, it is, Gurudev says, it is, once he has said, I remember, it is substitute food for the mind. It is actually withdrawing senses from the sense objects and turning them inward. The effect is you get centered. You will have control over the senses, which runs havoc. It is actually the conscious retracking of the senses, which comes with sadhana, which comes with consistent practice. And they start listening to you. Paramavashyate, Gurudev says, all the senses will start obeying you. They'll be your friend. You will have command over the senses. And that will bring the bhalasati, real contentment, real elevation and completion in you. It is pratyahara. We do that in Sanyam, right? We do that in Sanyam. So those who have not done Sanyam, they should experience Sanyam once. Because after the Yama and Niyama, this is all experiential knowledge. Words cannot describe in toto the experience of all these principles. And we have Dharana next. Maharshi says, Deshabandha Chittasya Dharana. It is focusing the mind at one place, holding on the mind in one place is Dharana. And Gurudev says there are different types of Dharana. Like you go to a temple, suddenly your mind gets focused on the idol. That is Dharana. You do japa, your mind is with you, everything else in you is with that divinity. That is Dharana. So focusing the mind is Dharana. The mind will not run around. When the mind, Gurudev says, when the mind is focused at one place, there is that smooth flow. Smooth flow. And Gurudev also says something else. You are worried about something. So you have that thought inside you. You go to bed with that thought. When you wake up in the morning, you have that thought. When you talk to your friends, that same thought is like, it is there in your mind. That is Dharana. That is also Dharana. Because your mind is not moving anywhere else. Even though outwardly you're talking with your friends, you're doing your course, the mind is fixed on to that kind of, that worry, that thought. So that realization is necessary. And when you get the power of Dharana, you get the Dhyana, or you will have the power of meditation. You will be able to go deeper, deeper, deeper and deeper into yourself in Dhyana. Gurudev's Dhyana, as we know, as we know, is like, it is the art of doing nothing. It is the art of restful alertness. It is the art of absolute, total relaxation. And here Maharshi says, it is the unknown flow in the content of the mind is Dhyana. And again, ironically, Gurudev says, there is Baka Dhyana. Now, what does a crane do? Oh, it's like tapa. She like lifts up one leg, stands with closed eyes for hours together. Actually, what is she doing instead of doing the dhyana? Just looking through the closed eyes whether there is fish outside in the pond. That is Baka Dhyana that the Gurudev says. And Gurudev says that meditation, when you are regular in the practice, when that meditation, when you sit, when you prepare yourself, that meditation happens automatically. As you go deeper and deeper, Samadhi happens. You become very pure, Pavitra. You become hollow and empty. And there is only that Shuddha Bodham in the state of Samadhi. Everything else will be there around you. But inside, you are just pure awareness. And the Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, Samyama, Maharshi describes this in the third pada, Vibhuti pada. And for a person who practices Samyama, who is very sincere in the practice of Samyama, who gets established in Samyama, Gurudev says, lot of siddhis come to him. And this is our thoughts about the 8 limbs of yoga, the Yoganga, that is Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. And this knowledge is so beautiful. No? It's very practical. This is, we're just there, which we all know. This is which we all know. But only thing is that the direction should be proper. And I'd like to sort of conclude this with Gurudev's words on Patanjali Yoga Sutra. This priceless wisdom. And this is actually what we all know, as I said. Everyone knows. It is always there. But it is a proper direction which is needed. And we'll conclude with this beautiful, Gurudev's words about Patanjali Yoga Sutra. It is this wisdom of yoga that transforms one from arrogance to self-confidence, from meekness to humility, from the burden of dependence to the realization of interdependence, from craving for freedom to the recognition of unboundedness, from a limited ownership to oneness with the whole. And this verse from Guru Gita, na guroradhikam, na guroradhikam, na guroradhikam, na guroradhikam, Shiva Shasanataha, Shiva Shasanataha, Shiva Shasanataha. It is the direction of the Lord of the universe, Lord Shiva, that na adhikam guru, it's never in excess. The Guru Tattva, the Guru principle. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev Shyamala ji. Thank you so much for this wonderful knowledge session.
Thank you, Abhimita.